Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday night on the bus, and of course, you know what that means. It's time for the Thursday night forum, and yes, Russell is still on his pre-season training in Torremolinos. I don't know if there's much training being involved in inverted commas there, but yes, he's off sunning himself out there. So yeah, I'll step in tonight and host alongside the judge. How you doing, Mark? Been a wee while since you and I have done a wee show together.
I know, mate, it's been a long time actually. Probably the last time I was on the Friday night show with you and Liam a couple of months ago. I'm doing good, mate. How are you? I can see that the diet's doing very well.
Oh,
Looking
thanks, mate.
good
And
there, mate.
I'm doing all right, mate. I'm doing not too bad at all. Yeah, happy to be on and discuss all of the trials and tribulations that's going on at Celtic right now, and certainly some tribulations. I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun talking about that tonight. I'm sure the board might be a hot topic tonight because, of course, it is the first night forum, folks, and it is a chance for you guys to get your points of view and your questions, and myself and the judge will digest them and go over them and give us opinions on them. But of course, before we go any further, folks, do all that good stuff. You can hit that like button, helps out in the old algorithm, CSC. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you've not done so yet. Hopefully, by the end of this calendar year, we'll hit 5,000 subscribers. That would be smashing. But at the moment, I think we're at 4,700 or something like that, as Mark disappears for a moment. Also, of course, you can share the link of the Voice of Us far and wide on whatever social media platform tickles your fancy. And of course, folks, as it is the T.N.F tonight, remember to get involved in our comment section and do that. Put hashtag T.N.F at the start of your question or your point of view, and it'll make it a bit easier for me to see it. Help Uncle Phil out, even though I wear glasses. Do not be fooled. It's very hard to keep tabs at times on the comments. If you've got a hashtag TNF at the start, I can keep up with it and star it, bookmark it, and we can come back to it in due course. And of course, head over to piesports.com. Get yourself some tasty pastry treats in. What was it? The meatball marinara pie. That was one of the newest additions. Go on and get one of them and use the code BUS1888 and get yourself 12.5% off of your order. And yeah, all that said and done, as people are starting to come into the chat, as I can see there. Yeah, Mark, let's before we go to comments and questions from the viewers, as we normally do, let's talk with the leading story, because when I was putting this show together earlier, obviously I was thinking, it's more of the same. You know, I was on Tuesday night, and it's like, nothing's really changed since Tuesday night. Shock horror with Celtic. At this time of year, nothing really changes. But of course, today we've had a breaking story, courtesy of Fabrizio Romano and other journalists. Anthony Joseph are reporting that the Matt O'Reilly bidding war has begun. Up steps Atalanta from Serie A even. The Europa League holders, so they are in the Champions League next season. They have been a sort of regular fixture in the Champions League recently. One of these new hipster teams that's getting out the Champions League on the regular. But apparently they have stepped up. And the latest story is that they've bidded about £15 million, and it has been rejected by the club, which is right from my point of view. I think that's definitely right to push back on that one. But yeah, is this the beginning of the Matt O'Reilly bidding war circus, Mark?
Aye, I think it will be. I think Atalanta, I think they're losing a player to Juventus. I think so they're going to be replacing the plan is to be replacing that guy with O'Reilly. So I think the guy was in the Euros with Holland, so maybe that's they began to press the button in Juventus. So then the ball just rolls into it all the way through Europe. But I think so. I think the according to Romano, there'll be a second bid coming in. And you've got to think there will be a second bid. I mean, as I said earlier on Twitter, the big clubs behave that way. They come in with a bid. If it's not enough, they'll go back to the table. Celtic will spend 2 or 3 weeks, offer another bid that's nowhere near good enough, and then walk away for the deal. And I think Atalanta had probably a good move from him. I just don't see him in the Premier League in England. I don't see him going there. Not because I think a lot of people who support like to think they know the man and say, and to know that the guy I do know him, you know, make the move just for money. Nobody knows the guy. We don't know anything about him. You know what I mean? We know he plays for Celtic. That's about it. Don't even know what his girlfriend's name is. And I mean, what he thinks about. So the reality is, we'll probably lose him. I think we all know that, and I'm not too fussed about that. I mean, I've seen some real legends of the club leave Celtic in my short time watching Celtic. So a fly-by-night guy like that leaving isn't going to really affect me, but I think it'll affect the team, to be honest with you, Phil. I think even he's in top of the leaderboard and all of our stats, to be honest with you. And I think there was large spells last season when he was nowhere near good enough. and yet he's still head and shoulders above anybody else in that midfield. I think Callum McGregor, and when he's on his game, he's still the best midfielder we've got. But I think Riley's was last season was still so much better than anybody else. But the thing is, it's something like a utter cheek. I mean, we don't come in and start paying prices that the clubs feel that are good enough to tempt their players away. We lose players constantly for low ball. I mean, that striker last year fucked about for months and months, trying to get that striker at the line and just didn't do it. And then we end up in January getting either. We miss a bit of players, or even Bernardo. I mean, that was done and dusted, that deal, when Celtic decided to go and try and change the price tag after the event. Just nonsense. And then Celtic expect clubs to respect them and offer 20. I think 30 million. But I think that's a laughing stock when I see folk in their fan base. Look at a player in England that's played maybe 30 games in the EPL or been part of a team that's finished in the top 5 in the Championship. Played at a really high level relatively to Scotland, consistently week in, week out. And then show a clip for Martinelli making a good pass against Atletico Madrid and automatically translate that into how Celtic should be demanding £40 million for players because they got 40 million. Doesn't work that way, Phil, I'm afraid, you know what I mean? You know, Celtic's got there's a lens on Celtic in terms of in Scottish football. Celtic tend to be the biggest club, and they tend to be where most eyes kind of go to get the standard of the league. And Celtic players tend to be the top players in the league, and has been for the last 20 odd years. But the reality is nobody takes this seriously, because the minute they come up against teams, even Norwegian teams, they put 7 and 8 past us. You know what I mean? It's not like we're you know, globetrotters and scoring freely every week. I mean, even though the Celtic Twitter page last night, the official Twitter page last night, Celtic losing 4 goals to Queen's Park is a goal fest and a 10-goal thriller. I mean, if you're probably watching Celtic losing 4 goals against Queen's Park, and fuck me, man, you get your throws in some weird places. But to go back to the Martinelli stuff, I mean, I tend to think, I said at the start, 15 to 20 million pounds is for me is a fair offer compared to what Celtic are willing to pay and what the league we're playing in. But if you're going to give good sell-ons, Phil, because I think these sell-ons that we dish out are based on the team making profit. So, for instance, if he was to go for £20 million, we wouldn't get a penny out of that. I think we should be. I think the sell-on value is going to be based on for scratch. You know, you sell for £10 million, we're due 30% of that. That's £3 million more. See, this sell-on value only on Tappy what the club's paid. That means the previous club are taking less risks. When the fact of the matter is, we're the one that's got the asset. You want them. It's up to you to tempt him off of us. Instead of us and our fan base like saying, "Come on, you got to admit we've done a good deal there, getting a 30% sell-on clause." No, not really, because the fact of the matter is, you jumped at the first. You jumped at the first seemingly outlandish bid, and then tried to make it better 4 years down the line should that player play well. So it's worked out for us with Van Dijk, and it'll probably work out ways with Frimpong. But see, in Jota too. But see, other than that, these sell-on deals don't really work. I see, like, very often. I mean, very rarely you get decent money back. We go like £1 million or about for Jack and Marcus, I don't know. But that's the kind of figures we deal with. Yeah. So I don't think that's a way we can get money. I don't think a sell-on clause, because you could walk into a team in Serie A and walk into a team in La Liga, play 4 games, and still go for £20 million because the league's that standard that teams will still pay that money for you. But I just don't see him walking into a team and doing what Frimpong done and go for £15 million after 12 months. Phil, I just do not see it. I think he's a classy player. He's playing in a very competitive area of the park. I mean, European teams that are successful tend to have very, very good engines. You know what I mean? They tend to be. You look at Madrid, the Modric, look at De Bruyne and Man City. These teams tend to have, you know, good foundations in midfield to attack. You know what I mean? They don't. And so it's a very competitive area of the park that he's got to be playing in.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's got to stand out at the very top level. So he's not going to be making us an extra £10 million because he's going to go for £40 million in 10 months. I just don't see it. So I think the option, the offer that we got, I don't think it's far away from reality, is what some people want to tell you, mate, to be quite honest.
No, that's all fair enough what you're saying. But in terms of like his influence, I agree with what you're saying there. He is a classy midfielder. He does come up with moments. That's definitely his thing, is moments. He isn't the type of one that takes a game by a scruff of a neck and can turn it like a Callum McGregor did at Ibrox a couple of seasons ago. Remember that? But O'Reilly is there. Say some of the goals that he's provided over the last year and a bit, 2 years now that he's been here. So we need to find to try and replace that. It's going to, it's up to the Celtic scouts to do that part, but of course we'll be getting on that in due course. I do find it interesting, though, Mark, is how, and you brought the point up there about how we go in with all these low offers for players and try and, lowball and whatnot. But yeah, the Celtic board seem quite good at pushing back and making sure they get as much money as they can at the old coppers, and the sell-on stuff. Totally agree on that one as well, because where does the money even go at times? That's the thing. Like, it's all well and good. I mean, I remember you made this point ages ago, and it's one of the things that does my head in on social media. There's plenty of things to do my head in on social media, but whenever there was a wee period where every time a deal got over the line, somebody would post a picture of Michael Nicholson, what a job he's doing and all that, And it's like, nowadays it's like these if we had negotiate a selfie, I see even for like Frimpong, who you brought up there, talk of we've got this sell on, or what a job Michael Nicholson or whoever it was and negotiated that did. It's no good if the money isn't getting reinvested in the club. And of course, that is one of the biggest contentious points for Celtic fans right now. The club, on one hand, are bragging about how much money we've got, but in terms of what we're seeing with our eyes, in terms of the squad and the investment, because we all see what we need, it ain't moving too quickly. So for a team that's quite happy to brag about what they've got, where is the money, Celtic? Where is it? Why don't you flex that muscle a wee bit? And you also brought it up there where you were talking about the Queen's Park game last night. I know it was only a friendly, a runabout, whatever you want to say, but when you look at that squad, and it's like, that is literally where the team is right now. I think there's a tweet doing the rounds, and you may even quote retweeted it, and it was somebody said, right now, this is the strongest 11 we can field if everybody was available. Kind of shows you where we are. I also thought it was a bit of a subliminal message going on there that when Celtic were obviously hyping the game up last night from their Twitter account, the player that they used on the graphic ahead of kickoff was one Mikey Johnston. And yeah, that is astounding that he's come back from another loan, and here he is in and around the first team again. And yeah, that's what we're at.
It's worrying me. I mean, it took half an hour last night for bloggers, I think it was Celtic, the Celtics are here, or Celtic Quick News, whatever it was. We have to have a discussion about Mikey Johnston. That discussion should have been 3 years ago. And it should have been what clubs he got into permanently. If we are looking at guys playing against, let's be honest here, rank amateur football players in Queen's Park, they're ranked. They wouldn't get into the English 6th tier. That's how bad these players are. If we're looking at players playing a performance, getting a couple of assists, is that a barometer for Celtic players going into a Champions League campaign and go up against Rangers? Then we're sadly mistaken. Let's get one thing clear, boys. Phil, the difference between Celtic and Rangers last season, I think, was 95% mentality and 5% their management, or maybe it's a bit skew with it, not with it. But I think the overwhelming reason for us winning the league last year was our mentality within the squad and the manager we've got. The ability part, I think the Rangers were probably not far behind us, but Phil, no, they're very, very. They could easily have won a treble last year. Let's be frank here. They could have won the treble as well as won the double. So even if they've improved by a small margin, which they probably have, who knows with that mob, we've decreased in value in standards since the Scottish Cup won 50 days ago, whatever it was. I mean, Joe Hart quit 140 days ago. He put his notice
February 22nd. I remember the date.
140 days ago. Our head of recruitment, he quit. I think it was the 1st of March, which is something
Around
like
March time, it was announced, definitely.
18 days ago, whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's still no sign the ND2 being replaced.
Yep.
The plane leaves on Tuesday to go to America, and I think the US tour has been used as a bit of a signpost for the Celtic fans to see where the club's at in terms of the squad. And there's nothing coming in, Phil. Nothing. I think you might maybe get the Bernardo deal over the line. But even if you get Bernardo and you get Ida over the line, that was the 2 first 11 players last season. The two of them, they two with impact off the bench. The cup final, in particular, the two who started on the bench came on with an impact. I think they came on for Hatate and Kyogo. They two, you know what I mean? Who were both awful that day, to be fair, and the both of them needed to be off the park. But I'm just saying that I was talking to a guy about a month ago. I was on the and it was about a week into the window, and I was saying, look, and he was calling me a panicker, even though I told him I wasn't panicking at that point. I said, well, when do you panic? When you go to America and there's no a player signed? And I was made to look like a fool for having that conversation. You know what I mean? Where are we? They're going to be on Tuesday. Yeah. You know, these games are only going to dictate our season. But believe you me, there's barometers being set for the season already. Like we have had a fan base totally and utterly good. He turned with planning permission at Ibrox and potentially asbestos. Who gives a flying fuck? The Euros, who gives a flying fuck? I was told that Celtic couldn't buy a keeper because the Euros was on. Who knew that France would win the Euros meant Celtic couldn't buy a keeper? Who knew? Oh, you know what I mean? I'm astounded, you know what I mean? And I've got a £20 bet on the guy in my work. But Celtic
I think we're aligned with every single keeper that's been at the Euros.
Well,
it's felt like it.
Well, my bet is £20 bet to keep it simple. That Celtic won't buy a player that played in the Euros. So my point was, what was holding Celtic up if the Euros? Because the players, agents only get money when they're active, Phil, right? They don't get money for sitting about in Spain. They get money when deals are getting done. So the agents are working 24/7. They're not sitting back and watching Switzerland versus Ukraine on a Tuesday afternoon. Believe you me, they're on the phone 24/7, making phone calls, seeing who's wanting players, talking to other agents, you name it. And Celtic seems to be the only club that thinks these things don't happen if Ukraine's playing Switzerland. I just don't understand it. I think even their fan base are into a cloud cuckoo land situation where they think every season the Celtic fans seem to think the strategy is Rangers will buy early, but we can just sit and say before a ball's been kicked that all their players are bad. You see, if that's your plan to hope Rangers buy bad players, then that's not a plan, Phil.
No.
That's not a plan, mate. It's no. If we get into the season, by the way, February 22nd, Mark, this is what I said on February 22nd. We will start the league campaign with Scott Bain and goal. And I was made to look foolish. Who's looking foolish now? Because it's getting closer and closer. We're back. We love Bain, Taylor, Scales, Carter Vickers, if he's fit, and Johnston. That'll be our back five. That's our back five for the start of the season. Be 130, 40 million pound in the bank. Astonishing. We'll still have Bernardo, perhaps, Hatate and McGregor. We'll still have Maeda. We'll still have Kuhn or Forrest. Fucking rub your eyes with that one. And probably Kyogo. That is probably our start. That's probably our team for next season. And if that is no sent alarm bells off at Celtic fans' heads, I do not know what will. I do not. There's been nobody heavily linked. And if anybody wants to sit and tell me Celtic keep their cards close to their chest, there's more leaks that Celtic partner with the Titanic. Who are you trying to kid? Anytime we sign a player, it'll be leaked days and days before it, or even weeks before it, that Celtic are trying to get them. The part of the morning we woke up and they went, "Oh fuck, there's Kyogo signed." And in our history, there's been very rarely if we woke up and Celtic have signed a player that nobody had even had one idea it was going to happen. There's always been links. Celtic spend 3 or 4 weeks talking to one player because they'd rather save 3 or 4 weeks' wages. But it seems to be this myth that Celtic do their business quietly. Celtic leak stuff to the press left, right, and centre. We could vibe stories and all the rest of it. Look at podcasts like the Celtic Underground and that Celtic Quick News having vlogs and that Celtic Here page and the rest of it, who can't wait to rub the club's belly and tell them how good they're doing. I mean, one of the stories this morning was I think it was at Celtic Quick News. That crackpot.
I know the one. Yep.
He was saying that we should all forego we should forego the idea that a player or two if it meant like better toilets in the stadium and better facilities for the fans to stand in. I'll stand in the park with gravel and see the very best players play for Celtic. Do not hit me with shit like that, because Celtic are building Barrowfield. And that Celtic Celtic here, they went and praised this guy coming, this Tony Ashgar coming in, is at least a new light in the sky that Celtic are changing their ways. It took me 3 minutes to Google him, then Google.
I saw you tweeting that. That's interesting. What he did there.
I googled him, nothing came up. I googled him, his name Celtic. I remember his dad United. Googled his dad, and I nearly fell off my chair. His dad played £5 million at the Barrowfield development. So the guy who's this new light in the sky, who's a change of Celtic's approach, his dad put £5 million into the place of work that his son's new going to be working in. If you think that's a coincidence, Phil, then you are off your fucking rocker.
Imagine that.
And bloggers and all the rest of it who are dying to put the Celtic's propaganda out there. It is, do you know, people would probably be happy for this, but I'm due to come off that Twitter, mate. The amount of shite I'm reading on that Twitter. There was a guy last night posted your starting 11, right? With a straight face and said, this is where Celtic find it difficult. How can we possibly attract a better 11 than that? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You trying to tell me Celtic can attract a better left back than Taylor?
That's that conditioning that Russell's talked about a lot, that fans are generally conditioned to believe that we can't, you know?
But even I talked to my dad today, and he's like, I'd like to see you do this, but I know it won't happen. And I'm like, that's like me saying that, because I was conditioned 20 odd years ago. I mean, but even folk like you who always had hope, they said it might do something. Even now, like you're reluctantly accepting. I mean, I'm going to have to buy the Champions League tickets because I need to stay on that home cup scheme.
I'm on it as well.
There's no danger I'm going to get off that couch and go and watch the Champions League. I'd rather lose the money. It doesn't bother me. But if anybody's going there, I know it should be that. If anybody's thinking they're going there thinking Celtic are going to be tooling a manager up, and then you go Rodgers and all. Rodgers was on a 3-year contract. See this time next year, we'll be starting a contingency plan for Rodgers' replacement, and we're still needing to give the guy who's there his team yet, and we're going to be starting afresh in 12 months. I mean, this is Celtic. I've gone straight and said it brilliantly years ago. Football managers and football players have got a cycle, 2 to 3 years cycle. Some of these players that you're talking, McGregor and the rest of it, they're fine. They don't lose them. But some of these players that you're talking, this is their 4th season, and like your Maedas and your Kyogos and guys who have served us really well. It's about time we started to look to get better, though, Phil.
It's definitely possible. It is.
Yes, I think Taylor's a great squad player. I think Taylor and Johnson badly need replaced. They really do. Johnson, for fuck's sake, he's Canadian right back now. Oh God. But anyway, they two need replaced. A blind man can see that the bold Welsh and Scales are squad players. Happy. I mean, even Welsh is going to have 8 goals against plumbers, butchers, and candlestick makers at Queen's Park yesterday. And don't forget that fitness might not be up to standards yet, but fitness doesn't make you a bad player, Phil. If you're a bad player, you're a bad player. Being 2 weeks into football training into pre-season doesn't make you a bad player. If you're a bad player, you're a bad player. Simple as that. And Welsh falls into that category. I mean, honestly, the folk that are clamouring for Welsh, Mikey Johnson, James Forrest, to start a season for Celtic, Bosun Lawal. We've even got bloggers and nighttime joggers try to tell us that Bosun Lawal, whatever his name is, because he played well in the ninth tier of English football last season, it's good enough for Celtic. Come on, Phil. I've either woke up in the Twilight Zone, and I'm just losing the plot here, because
You're not losing the plot. Me and
I'm
David.
looking at Twitter every night, mate, and I
Yeah.
am going in a 4-hour rant every night.
Yeah.
Every tweet's annoying me.
Yeah.
Every
Well, the thing
tweet.
is, me and David spoke about that on Tuesday night. We brought up the Boston Laval stuff, and it was like he finished. I mean, pardon me for not being too enthused about a player who get relegated from the third tier of English football. Fleetwood finished 22nd out of 24, get relegated. Apparently, he was a standout, and it's like, well, pardon me for not being enthused. He might very well become good, but I don't like the idea of him being pushed at the front here, because the cynic in me thinks that if we have an underwhelming window, it's going to be, but look, he'll be like a new signing. And it's like, no, you're going to put unnecessary pressure on the lad, I think, because now it's a case of, well, in that case, he must now hit the ground running. And I don't know if he should be expected to do that. He might very well come good over time, but I don't know about that one. I don't know.
I imagine it's a standout in the room full of dwarfs in it. If you want to fuck, I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, he is quite a big guy, to be fair. So
he is. He's big. He's big. He's big. I mean, he's big and he's shite. Let's be honest. I mean, he's hardly played. I mean, there was a video that kept on getting reported the other night. It was this 30-yard pass to, I think, Mickey Johnston.
It was, yes.
Right. Do you know something? Great pass. But see if we're falling at ourselves. By the way, just something. See the pass. There was no press left or right for the midfielders. It free rein to make that pass. And in the wing, the ball went wide. There was nobody Martin Johnson. So if you're a Celtic player and you're playing a 30-yard pass to somebody's feet, and that's deemed as a turning moment in your career, then Celtic have fell further down the ladder than I thought they have recently. But I just honestly I feel like I could have a pod every night, because I feel like I steal all that stuff. I bottle all that stuff every night, and eventually I get to talk about it and I just rant and rave. But
it's all right. Let it all out, Mark. This is therapy, mate.
I know. So I'm going to be the next season, probably doing a couple of shows a week, maybe 2 or 3. But just to annoy everybody else on the pod. But it's like, I don't know. If you got to either prepare yourself to get, you got to prepare yourself for me to get real and start criticising the club. Take your eyes off Rangers. See, Rangers don't matter, Phil. Take your eyes off Rangers stadium facilities. Who the manager's talking about, what Cantwell's putting on Twitter or TikTok, whatever it is he does. Take your eyes off that, because the bigger picture for Celtic fans is Celtic Park. What's going on at Celtic Park just now? Yeah. Who's not coming in? Who's going out the door? I've got a fear that O's ready to go, but will only go if we buy either. And if that deal doesn't come through, it'll be O and Kyogo next season. I think O and Kyogo last season was a gamble that we didn't have to take. Luckily, we did that, and thank God that we get Kyogo for a full season for an injury. How that happened, I don't know, Phil. But it happened.
It was shoulder injury as well. That shoulder injury hanging over him all the time. Yep. Every
match, is your heart in your mouth, and I don't think Kyogo. People think he's the best striker since Larson. They must have missed. They must have missed Hartson. Dembele must have missed Hartson. They must have missed Craig Bellamy. Must have missed Roy Keane. They must have missed Edward. Must have missed 10 other players. But that's up to them. I saw Kyogo miss a shot for 1 yard before and had it wide. 1 yard out, he missed it. 1 yard, and he managed to put it back. So, for as much as he scores 30 yards against Rangers, he's still got that in his locker and all. I don't think he's any Larson class or Craig Bellamy or Chris Sutton or John Hartson. I think that's laughable when you hear folk mention stuff like that. But that's the world we live in. It's all recency bias. But I think there's a severe, vast majority of Celtic fans online that are so obsessed with laughing at Rangers that
agreed.
They don't realise that right behind them the boys laughing at us boys, Phil. And I was up at Celtic Park last Sunday, just in there about shopping, and you couldn't move. Sunday afternoon and the rain was belting off the streets, and you couldn't move. Queued out the door, car park full, couldn't get parked.
Yep.
Sunday afternoon, and money going through the till left, right, and centre. And I thought to myself, and I'm the biggest mug, I'm not slagging anybody, but I thought to myself, how can this board lose, boys, Phil? Because it's like I keep on me to call you boys, sorry.
Sorry, mate. It's fine.
That's my brothers and sisters. I call them everybody's name by their name. But honestly, mate, and I don't know how we've not got a voice, but they can at least put pressure internally. We can at least be so vocal that when we see things happen at Celtic, that we're allowed to say it straight away, because we're so quick online when you see on Twitter. It's only app I've got is Twitter, is focus on every single full stop that somebody misses over at Ibrox, but they'll forgive missing sentences at Celtic Park. Anything that should be getting focused on at Celtic tends to be when it's becoming too late in the window, or becoming obvious that they're shafting us. I mean, you look at yesterday, they promoted you've got Darren O'Day, the Pathways manager.
Oh yeah, all that stuff. Yeah.
But Darren O'Day was already the B team manager who created nothing for the first team. So now you know he's in charge of somebody else that's going to be creating a player for that pathway. And you go, he's told the club, he told the manager last season and the previous 2 seasons, there's nobody here for you to take, or there's nobody that I don't think can fit in, or he's sending players too early or too late into the first team. So he's been in charge of that side. So they'll now put that fanny in the middle, in between an even worse manager and a manager who's under so much pressure because the board don't back him, that he's got to play the best he's got available.
Yeah.
And so see moving this musical chairs about, put Darren O'Day there, bring Johnny Hayes in there, old Mother Hubbard, put her here. I just don't understand it, because when you still get the same clowns, you're still going to get the same circus, Phil. You've got that training facility that they're spending money on or getting handouts for, and we're getting told, by the way, don't forget, we were told that it's our money in the bank that's got to build this training facility, and I've just told you a minute ago that it's a £5 million grant to have somebody, for fuck's sake.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's probably what these shares have been doing. That's probably what's happened there. Somebody probably gave us a loan and put it through his shares. I wouldn't shock you. But what's the point building at a stadium and keeping the women new hairdryers in their dressing rooms? What's the point of that if you're going to have the same guys running it? Somebody put on that, Paul Larkin put on his Twitter yesterday, anybody who's been involved in Celtic's Celtic's academy in the last 10 years, how they're still on a job is beyond explanation.
The amount of players that we've lost, they've just there is no pathway.
No pathway.
No.
And I don't blame Lennon. I don't blame Rodgers twice or Ange. I don't blame any of these guys, or even Tyler. Well, Tyler did try and bring in youth. Yeah. But he could, to be honest with you.
He was in a position to do so, because
the Rangers, Hearts or Hibs. I mean, come on, if you lose that league, then you've lost your mind. But I don't know, mate. And I'm sorry for taking over the show with my rants, but
it's all right.
It's the angriest I felt in a while, and I think sometimes I get more angry when I see something coming. And you know what? I think we're going to be sitting, whatever day transfer deadline is, we're going to be sitting on the Thursday before that window comes, before that, and we're going to be still saying we need a goalkeeper, or we need A, B, C, and D, and we needed a left back 2 years ago under Ange. Sorry, we need a keeper. We spoke about a keeper in Ange's second season.
We spoke about
last season. Hart gave us nearly 2 months before the season finished. He gave us a lot of opportunity, and I still don't think we've got. I think we've got a list of players. We've not got a first. We've not got a target. I don't think we know who we want yet.
No,
we're sitting back and waiting to see all the big teams buy players and see what falls out for Lorry. I think that's what Celtic are doing. And what big team in the Champions League behaves like that? We're not a big team anymore, Phil. We don't behave like one. We don't. The only thing that separates Celtic from the other mediocre crap that you see in the Swedish league and Dutch league and Norwegian league is Celtic have got a fan base that demands so much that it's an exciting place to play, and that gives you a better level of player every now and again. Because we're bored don't deserve to see us play in Europe. They don't deserve it. The fans do. And you're getting fucking training kits and strips rammed down your throat every month. There's a new training kit out every single month. You don't see them wearing it. You've got Origins kits. You've got fucking that white badge kit.
The pre-match one that they only wear just on match day before the game.
That man that they brought out last week, I haven't seen it in the shop. I mean, it looks like a Christmas jumper.
It does look like a Christmas jumper, right?
And see the way it feels and all. Oh, And I think to myself, we're a laughing stock. And because I'm talking about the fans, the club, they know we'll buy it. Well, if you buy that, you deserve what you get, quite honestly. You should have a fucking dumbass printed at the back of it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm going on a pure rant here, but
it's all right.
I'll hand it back to you, Phil. But this is probably the angriest I've felt in a long time, because this board, the shaft is up the arse. We've got a fan base that are telling the board to do it harder. And you get folk like me sitting aside that I try to put a bit of lube on it.
Well, as you say, like you're witnessing all this money going into the club. We're all seeing it. You literally went at the superstore and you see it, and you think, where is our money going? What is it doing? Where's the? I mean, the comment you mentioned earlier on about, we should forego players so we get better facilities.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I don't pay my season ticket money to stand in a better toilet at halftime or whatever. I'm paying to see a good product on the park, my man. And it's like, I am not into that idea at all. So, yeah, that's just lunacy stuff, that type of comment. But couple of things that you brought up there. I think it speaks volumes that you mentioned that O. Obviously, we're holding on to him until he comes. I genuinely thought O had left about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was told that he went away to Belgium for £4 million. So I was as shocked as many to see his name on the team sheet recently in these friendlies. So hope to God that isn't the case, that we're holding on to him. Another one as well. Frank Kennedy brought up, why Seagrass still on the scene? Yeah, there was like a comment in another week where he said something about, I will, as soon as the door shuts, I will never be back. I thought that was the case. His contract had been torn up and he was gone. Apparently, he's still around. And Brian McCabe does make a fair point about, because I brought up the thing about Mikey Johnson saying, how so they says, Phil, do you not think pre-season's a wee bit of a short window for players? That's probably, I can agree with that. But remember, Mikey Johnson started so well at West Brom when he went on loan, and I thought, brilliant. We've finally got somebody that'll buy him. They'll take him because he's on such a upward trajectory here. And then it just petered out at West Brom, and now he's back with us. So, and there has been talk as well that he may be involved in the Ida deal. Who knows? But yeah, as well. But let's go to some comments. And there's been a few that have been going in, because we're about halfway through the show now. So let's see what we've got, because as I say, put hashtag T.N.F at the start, folks. It helps me out. And let's have a wee look what we got. Alistair check. Alistair's saying, is it okay to panic yet? Sweet Effie in the door, love the show. Thanks a lot, Alistair, for saying you love the show. Is it time to panic yet? Well, interestingly enough, on the screen, as I've said many times, I'm always quite a level-headed one in that I'm almost not in the mode of panicking. But there will come a point eventually where it is getting a bit touch and go here, Celtic, and we need to stop being, again, how many times can we say it? We need to be proactive, not reactive. Mark said it plenty of times already tonight about the system, the way we do it. We seem to just sit back and wait. Do we even have a process in place when it comes to scouting players? Again, I've said a million times, we don't need to spend all the money. We just need to do our job better, but it just feels like it's the blind leading the blind sometimes at Celtic. That's what it really does feel like. Rightfully so, Mark pointed out as well, the Lowell Jr. was removed from his post or was put on gardening leave, whatever it was, in March. Are we going to appoint a new head of recruitment? Do we need a head of recruitment? Shouldn't it be the manager that does that? Maybe I'm too old school, Mark. Maybe I'm too grounded in my ways of how football used to be, reminiscing about the old times and thinking, to me, the manager's the be-all and end-all. He should make all the decisions. He should be the one that sanctions all the players. Are we going to go down that route? If we are, why the hell have we not announced anybody yet? So I can understand if people are getting a bit panicky about it. At the moment, I'm still like, I'm okay for now, but there will come a point where I will, it will tip me eventually. But for the time being, I'll say I'm okay. Mark, you're maybe a bit more, I don't know if panic's the word, but angry definitely, and rightfully so. I can understand your frustrations with him, and you've vented it more than enough there. You deal this exactly how you feel about this board and the way they're going about it, because yeah, it is a clown show at the best of times. Stephen Kennedy throwing in a name. Casper Schmeichel again. What did I say earlier on about if we've linked to every goalkeeper at the Euros, it feels like Schmeichel was there. The Turkish one that conceded the hilarious own goal. Remember that one? The Man United number 2 keeper. He played against Portugal. And there was that hilarious own goal, and it was like, oh God. Obviously, Dubravka, Slovakian keeper, Casteels right at the very start. He was Belgium's goalkeeper at the Euros. It does feel like we've linked to every single one of them, but nothing's came to fruition there. The name that keeps coming up is another Dane, this Vindal Jensen. But as I learned on Tuesday, apparently Sparta Prague have only officially signed him outright in March because he was on loan.
Yeah,
David told me that because Vindal Jensen sees the name that keeps coming. I've described it, Mark, as like a carousel. Figure a carousel, and it goes round and round. It stops, and another name comes off, and then it gets back on, and it spins again. And this Vindal Jensen keeps coming up, the Sparta Prague keeper. But yeah, we're talking about it briefly on Tuesday. And when David read out a final article about a snag that came along, you thought, well, the snag will surely be Celtic are haggling over this, whatever money it is. No, apparently Sparta Prague only outright signed him in March. Because he was on loan from a team from the Bundesliga. And there probably is rules now about he can only play for X number of teams in a calendar year and stuff like that, and it might affect it. And because I think with being a loan deal and then a permanent deal, that would count as two, or count as a transfer, even though it's the same club. And it's like, oh, this is just ridiculous. So he seems to be the name, but I don't think Kasper Schmeichel is going to happen. I don't think Joe Hart being 37 being replaced by Schmeichel, who's also 37, 38 in that same mold. All that happens is in a year's time, you're back in the same spot again. So to me, I don't think that's a go with that one. But for you, Stephen Kennedy, I say just buckle up because there'll be plenty more names, I think, linked to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper position.
We'll win at the Dane.
Aye, let's see what else we've got here. And Stephen Kennedy again. Saying we're wasting too much time on Ida. Let's make a move for Majowski. Maybe not even Majowski, but again, do the board have a plan? Do they? I mean, I'm happy to get Adam Ida, and I like him, and I do think he's got that. He can become something special at the club, and obviously he's written into Celtic folklore already for what happened at the end of the season. That cup final goal, it will live on for many, many years. But yeah, that's the thing. If they do they'll take too long on it, Mark. That is the worry. But I do think either will happen. But when you're talking about deals that take too long, again, I always like to, link things that I've seen in the past and draw comparisons to some moments over history. And one I think of is, like, for instance, Marc-Antoine Fortuné, who Tony Mowbray chased for a month. He came in and right away he made it clear he wanted to get this guy, and he chased him for 4 or 5 weeks, while other targets maybe could have been looked at, but he was determined to get this guy. And of course, it didn't work out. So, I mean, if it does not going to happen, and I think by now the club would probably have a clue that it's not going to happen, but I think the boy himself wants the move. But in terms of, like, have they got other plans? Have they got other ones lined up, or are they just putting their eggs all in that basket? Because they should always, any big club, any professional club, Mark, would be prepared in the event that, what if there is a snag? What if he gets injured in training for Norwich at the last minute? Remember when there was a really famous one, Ruud van Nistelrooy done his cruciates right before he signed for Man United, had to stay at PSV for another year? Things like that can happen. And if Celtic are, like, just waiting on Ida, what if something happens that causes it to break down at the last second? And then it's like, what do we do? See, Majowski's obviously a name that keeps coming up, but just in general, do they have a plan B if Ida doesn't come in?
I don't think they've got a plan A, to be honest with you, Phil. I think Ida just fell on the lap. He fell on the lap last season when he came in. I don't think Celtic had much. I mean, I think it was one that Celtic got a phone call the last day and said, listen, he's available, do you want him? And Celtic said, aye. It wasn't linked for days on end or weeks on end. He just came and they want to watch for him. And I think they've seen the clamour to sign him. Rodgers wants him. And I think they've known straight away that Norwich want to see the player first. So this might rumble on. But as you say, it's going to rumble on, which is only fair on Norwich's behalf. But we're probably going to let targets slip through our fingers, you know what I mean? Like, by being solely focused on one player, because we've not got plans A's and B's and B's. I don't trust this club to be meticulous. Well, I mean, if you think we learned a lesson with Eddie Howe, we didn't. We put all our eggs in one basket, didn't look left and right, just everything was going to be fine. Kick the can down the road, Celtic board style. And we fell on our arse cause it. We ended up falling at the end, which is a lot better. But we got lucky there as well. You know what I mean? As if that was a plan in the first place. And the board, I mean, who behaves the way they do, mate? 100 days without a keeper, with 150 days without a manager. Remember Neil Lennon?
Yeah. Every day the Green Brigade were going up to the front of the stadium with, like, a different face with the red X through it. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And a keeper. This is Hart's second season, and Hart was a major player for Celtic for 3 seasons there. I've not got one bad word to say about the guy. For a long time, I was one of his main, I was one of his biggest fans. You know what I mean? I got a lot of time for the guy, and when the way he left, I thought it was perfect. But it was obvious that we said they needed to replace him. And they didn't. They got one more season out of him, or 2 more seasons out of him, perhaps. And there was no next plan. I mean, surely God Seagrass wasn't going to be the man that's going to come in and replace him. It was, if Seagrass worked out the best case scenario, it was going to be second choice. Bain was going to be third choice. That was the best case scenario for them at the time. No plan to push him on or try and replace him. I mean, you try to tell me because of reasons that I've already said about the Euros and that Celtic haven't got a keeper. They couldn't have got a keeper by now. I mean, we're going away in America in a couple of days and the season starting. And don't forget, see if we get a player just now, the chances are this guy's probably getting pimped about to clubs over Europe. He's probably not trained with his parent club, i.e. Haksabanovic, i.e. Giacomakis. They're going to come in. They're not going to be match fit. They're going to be match ready. Never mind fitting a system that last season's team still try to fit into in time for the season starting. I mean, I don't know if I overthink things, Phil, but I just don't see how these things can continuously end well. They can't continuously end well. We did is our transfer strategy and budget and the way we worked last season did not deserve a double, but we got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Angie's second season, which the club gave him, utter dross.
Yep.
Dross.
Aye.
Kobayashi, Bernabe, fucking the list goes on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The
Danish lad that never the Danish guy that came in on loan from the Russian team. He was so Abelgard. Yeah.
He was sitting in my kitchen and I really recognise him. I genuinely, it's the same with that big Polish boy in the Rocky. And to be quite honest with you, see that I don't recognise the Japanese, but I know Watati and Kyogo and Maeda. To see the rest of them,
to see Kobayashi, I honestly like. See when he was on who was the first game? Ayr United we played, went at the first friendly, and there was something on the team sheet that distracted me so much that I didn't even notice Kobayashi's name. Like there was something. I think it was just like the B team players that were in the team. Obviously, my eyes instantly went to that. It wasn't until later on in the night somebody pointed out Kobayashi was playing. I looked at the lineup and went, so he was. I totally forgot about him. Completely forgot about him, man.
I wish it didn't happen. I remember his game at Ibrox on Easter Road.
Oh,
and decided to give him a couple of games for Celtic. How he decided that, I think he was looking at a Spurs team sheet rather than Celtics at that time, to be quite honest with you. But and you know, there's only so many times you can fuck it up and just rely on Rangers being bad, and having a good manager. And last season was supposed to be the moment of clarity, the epiphany for Celtic fans, or Celtic as a club to move on and eventually buy the players because they've got all that money.
Yeah.
We've got double that cash now, and there's still no inkling to buy players, Phil. There's still, if reports are true, which I don't doubt they are, in Portugal, that Celtic are haggling over a couple of grand a week for the Bernardo deal.
Mm-hmm.
A deal that could have been done weeks ago, considering the fact that it's a sell-on already agreed.
Well, but one of the things I find stunning about that is obviously we took him on loan last year, and I believe a fee was already agreed at the time. To Jota and Carter Vickers, and only Celtic would then go back and go, actually, can we change?
That's a bad sign, Phil. I spoke to Phil about this. I spoke to Boyce about this. Yep. That's a bad sign. Business, you're only as good as how you behave yourself in business, conduct yourself in business, Phil. And if I was a team and I had the option to send a player for the exact same details, exact same figures, exact same money, and Celtic was one of the teams, I would think twice about it, boys, Phil, because they're going to get a reputation at haggling when there was no haggling involved in the first place. I mean, I want to support Celtic, but I have never, ever, ever seen or heard another club change the rules after a transfer like that. Never seen anybody else renegotiate. Yeah. And we've got over £100 million sitting in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, see if we sell O'Reilly, probably going to get money for Frimpong, £1 million for Giacomakis, £2 million or so for UEFA for the Euros.
Yeah.
Money for nothing. Money for all rope. Seems like it's Champions League. You're talking £140 million in the bank, and we're arguing over £2 or £3 grand a week for Bernardo. Trust, you asking me would I go all out and say Bernardo? No, I think if you're looking at Bernardo last season, he was a player that played on the bench. If he's been brought in to be a first 11 player, and Celtic have got worse than what they were last season, that's my obvious takeaway on that one. It's a clear mathematics on that. Well, the clear equation anyway. But for me, I think if I seen a post yesterday, it was like 24 years for Chris Sutton, £6 million transfer. That was a quarter of a century ago, and same money makes our board and fan base turn chalk white. And I gear up. We should be breaking that £6 million should be what we're paying for. Second choice strikers. It really should be.
Right, for shadow in this day and age. Yep.
Why either pretending to be a Champions League club or we're no. If you had to just go out, do you know what? We're not seeing Europe. Just give the money and sell your slot to another team. Give to Ajax if they don't qualify. Do that if you want, but don't sit there and pretend to me and you that we should turn up on a Champions League night and go crazy for the anthem. Tell the Atletico Madrid fans that we love them. We'll sell pin badges and we'll half and half scarves. They'll beat us 5-0 and then we'll all get home together and have a drink. I'm just fed up with it. I mean, I'm fed up with a lot of it. I'm pissed right off.
Oh, aye. No, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, mate. I say it's you don't learn from your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And it's something that I've felt as well recently where we cannot just keep relying on Rangers to mess up. And I know they're in the habit of it, but there will come a time where they will, that whole January slump that they always talk about, where they went a good few years in a row where every time they came back for the January break, they just completely fell apart. Last season, it was quite touch and go up to a point because obviously we were 8 points in front, and then by February we found ourselves 2 points behind. I think was it when we lost to
5 points behind us.
I think we went 5, but what about there? But I can remember there was a point where they lost to Motherwell out of nowhere after going on a great run when Clement came in, and then we had Hearts the next day at Tynecastle. We had a chance to go top, and then we didn't take it. We didn't take it, and it was just a case of. Then every game after that, it was a case of we just can't drop points now because we didn't lose a game after the Hearts one. The only time we dropped points was we drew at Ibrox, which actually turned out to be a good result. It was the only team we could afford to drop points against was Rangers. If we dropped points to anybody else, we were in trouble. But yeah, it was a case of we had to just keep them within touching distance, and then luckily they dropped a few more with the whole Dundee debacle, Ross County pulling one out of the hat, and but we can't rely on these other teams to do us these types of favours and Rangers to collapse because one day it will come back to bite us, and the way to do that is just to be a wee bit more proactive. That's all it's got to be instead of reactive. But for whatever reason, we could probably take a guess at who the figurehead is causing a lot of this. No coincidence, he comes back. And even the thing is, I see a lot of people on Twitter who will say, "Oh, Lawwell's nothing to do with the transfer negotiations and he's nothing to do with it." But one, he's the chairman, and then people can argue, "Oh, non-executive chairman." Again, only person with chairman in his name. And I think it's from Celtic's point of view, given what happened in the past with him and the way he is viewed by many fans, to put him back in a position of power at the club, and then if things begin going a bit skew with, even if he is completely innocent in this, the club have willingly put out there that he will become the one that people will look at, that he is the problem. He might very well be completely innocent in this, and he is just sitting in the background doing nothing. Not necessarily that I believe that, but because he's in that position, the club have created this problem themselves. That's what they've done with Peter Lawwell being back as the chairman. So, yeah, we predicted that at the time, but we said that. We were like, even if he doesn't get involved in transfers, we say maybe that.
They made that monster. They made that monster. They made that opportunity for something to go wrong, and Celtic fans to blame him straight away. But that's the same guy who sat in his arse and let the Celtic fans get the blame for setting fire to his house when it was some gangster.
That's
right. I've been setting fire to the Ryan Carr. You know what I mean? Something to a nightclub, and so he sat back and watched the Daily Record, the Sun, and guys like Tom English say on radio that Celtic fans are forcing Lawwell out the door by setting fire to his property. And there's still been there's been no other report about that, other than the fact that it's become clear that there's nothing to do with football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't let folk cut about places like that with petrol canisters, Phil, you know what I mean? It's cameras everywhere, mate, you know what I mean? They just don't get up there. But no, and they made that monster. They let that guy come back into the club. So anything but he got back in, and ever since we looked like we were taking a wee turn for the better. We were beginning to act differently.
Andrew's first season, we were proactive. It felt like we were actually
the
just.
man he's came in, it's all
getting it done.
changed.
Yep.
The man he's came in, it's all changed, and then we get told after a day that Mark Lawwell was Angie's man. Well, Mark Lawwell, Ange tried to take every single backroom member of staff at Celtic Park except Harry Kewell and Mark Lawwell. He tried to take the full scouting department, the full coaching staff, Gordon Stratton, Kennedy, O'Day, the lot of them, except Harry Kewell and Mark Lawwell. And Mark Lawwell was if he was Angie's man, Mark Lawwell would be one of the guys, because he could have said to Spurs, I want this, that, and that. They would have went like at one point, I gave Matt Dafty. They'd be like £1 million. They just sign a check like that, and he could bring in 10 guys if he wanted to. Because he tried to bring in a right handful for Celtic member. He was that good for Celtic that he tried to decimate the full backroom staff. Let's not forget, at least Rodgers didn't do that. Rodgers took the one guy that took Liam when he went to Leicester. Ange tried to take the full backroom staff. Probably tried to take McGregor and all. You know what I mean? Let's be honest here. The only guy who told the Celtic fan base that he would never talk to clubs when he's got a league to win or a cup to win. Then turns out that he was talking to that boy Madison in February.
Yeah, that's right. I seen that interview clip as well.
We're in the middle of a champions title race, and he's talking to players to come to Spurs with him in February. I mean, he must realise that people were going to talk. He was another bullshitter, that Ange, you know what I mean? He get thrown out a belter.
No secrets are safe in the day and age nowadays. Nothing's safe in terms of that.
Well, he caught a belter, mate, because that Madison, he's not getting to hide. I mean, he's not getting to hide.
He was a Leicester player at the time as well, so obviously that's like.
He's Aberdeen as well. I mean,
but no, he was a Leicester player at the time when Andrew. So the Celtic manager, who wasn't the Spurs manager, was talking to a Leicester player that became a Spurs for him.
And
what happened to the captain time?
In February, you know what I mean? And the player admitted that, and he said I was talking to him in February. So any idea that Ange wasn't talking to Spurs and the rest of it, I mean, that's like me going away talking to. That's like me phoning in orders for companies I don't work for. You know what I mean? You know exactly what he was doing with probably the same time we got Easter Road with Kobayashi at the back. Probably when at the same time as that, you know what I mean? That's another story.
But no, that's quite a mishmash there, that one. Just a quick comment. Also, if I can I was just playing about devil's advocate. I'm saying maybe Lawwell is innocent and all that. What I was saying was, but if he is innocent, Celtic have created this monster by putting him in that position. I do think he's definitely interfering. I think he is actually the problem.
He's the most important person at the club.
Only man with chairman in his name, whether it's non-exec or not.
It was no. He would brought in as non-exec, and then changed the chairman, but without any probably a message to the stock exchange, but there was no communication on the Twitter page or website. He just changed roles. But Celtic last night made an announcement on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You name it, that they made a structural change within the club, which just meant down the day going to a new job. It meant Mick McManus, or what his name is, Steve McManus, getting.
That's his nickname, to be fair.
The wrestler guy for the 70s or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He get bumped up to whatever role, and then you get Johnny Hayes coming in, and there's all Celtic players and Celtic connections to them all. Does any other club in the Champions League behave like this? Does teams like Paul and Arfley behave like this? I don't think they do. You just turn up at a job and say, "Can I get a job? My dad worked here." And they go, "I want in." You don't. That doesn't happen. And Celtic we've got away with the most bizarre, philosophy and business and football structure. Known to man, and by winning trophies left, right, and centre. And it's because of the managers we've got, not because of the board.
Yeah.
And their daft tactics. And we got lucky with Rodgers twice. Tyler and Lennon just did what they were supposed to do. No Rangers in the league, really, you know what I mean? Lennon won a league when Rangers get 10 points docked off, and probably was going to win it anyway because they were going downhill against Alan McCoy's Rangers. Let's be honest. I mean, you can't beat Alan McCoy's, who's you know what I mean? Anyway, so I think you kind of, you can fluff up Celtic's trophy haul in the last 14 years and the board's place in that by just looking at trophies won. But there's a bigger picture in that, Phil, and I think we're doomed to be so arrogant that we think Rangers are earning a match for us like we did during the COVID season. But reality bites, and it bites hard. You know what I mean? I think we've got to 100%. We've got to think every pre-season is a new season. Not because we beat Rangers with 8 points last season, or we beat them with 20 the year before that. Every new season is there to be won. You know what I mean? And we start off with equal points. You know what I mean? And we've got Easter Road in the second game. We've got Rangers in the third or fourth game. We've got tough games coming up. Whatever position these teams are in is their problem. The Celtic need to bring the best version of themselves to these places. And the Celtic board, in my opinion, don't do that. And the Celtic fans are, as always, the ones that are panicking come transfer deadline day.
We've went through this enough times now, so we know we've learned. We've seen it all happen.
This is why. This is why that it was the shortest ever window to buy a season ticket.
Aye.
If they were, and I said this before the league came out, because if they were still on sale, there'd be a lot of folk holding back their money just now until Celtic forced their hand and said you've got 2 weeks. Was it something like 17 days to buy it, Phil? Ridiculous.
Something like that, and it fell in the middle of a month, and most people get paid at the end of a month. So
and you may have already spent your money. That email and that deadline probably came after one wage. Let's be honest. It's probably the one wage, and you've not always got like money for 2 or 3 season books, but folks somehow managed to get the money together. I think Celtic forced people's hands, and they talk about the waiting list and the 98% people renewed their season tickets. But a lot of them is legacy. A lot of folk don't want to get their books up. I mean, the guy on Celtic Exchange who gave his up, to the guy, hats off to him, man. I wish I could do it. Honestly, I didn't think the guy was going to do it. He said there was no structural change. He was going to, I think it's James, he was going to get up, and he did. He went, I need to be truthful with myself, and I went, good on you, mate. I wish I could do the same, Phil. I really do. I just couldn't. But I know you're the same as well, mate. And they know that. And I don't think the club will ever be hurt in the pocket because of their own mismanagement. If anything, they'll just be galvanised by the next new manager or the next new structure. It's going to be exciting to the fans. That's all we're ever going to get after them.
No, you're totally right, man. Yeah, I've renewed mine again just because it's what I do, you know, today. But I applaud, as you say, the boy in the Celtic Exchange for sticking to his guns. Fair play. But yeah, the board know they've got the fabled waiting list that we always hear about, you know, the people being on it, which you have to pay money for to be on. Funny story, 2007, I got my season ticket, right? And the waiting list was even a thing then, the much they say fabled waiting list. And I can remember my dad saying he was going to phone up the ticket office. It was about the start of the 07-08 season, just coming up to it. It was quite late in the day. It wasn't like, you know, May of the season before. And he was like, I'll phone them up and try and get season tickets. And I genuinely was like, what about the waiting list? He phoned them up, 10-minute call, 2 season tickets done. And I was like, so whenever I hear people talk about the waiting list, I'm like, I never had to be on a waiting list, but
we sold half-term ones. You could get half-term ones up until about 10 years ago.
I can see Kennedy's saying that he's paid 533 and he was on the waiting list for 4 years. But yeah, amazingly, I say I don't know. Maybe my dad happened to phone at the right time. I don't know. He just happened to time it right. But yeah, 07, I don't have to be on any waiting list. But at the time, and that's 2007, there was a waiting list. Yeah,
17,000 under a Neil. But what folk don't realise is it's a £10 one-off payment, right? But everybody's in the same financial situation they were pre-COVID when a lot of them put their name down. If they got offered listen, 6 ton more as you want it, a lot of them might have been in a position to say, "I give me it." You know what I mean? They're not everybody that's on it is in the same paying job. Or, I mean, bills have went up, wages have stayed the same for a lot of folk. Not a lot of folk have got that kind of money or that a Saturdays off or whatever, Sundays off or whatever. So it's not as simple as that. I don't think the intentions are there, but I don't think the numbers are adequate. I don't think they're accurate, mate. I think if you think there's 20,000 Celtic fans willing to buy a season ticket tomorrow, you include Cuckoo Land. I mean, we be the highest season ticket base probably in Europe or in Madrid and Barcelona. I think if we could sell 75 season tickets, 75,000 season tickets. There's no club in Britain that's got that. Even Man U's get that. You know what I mean? So I think that's fairy tale stuff. I think Barcelona's give it 80,000 if they're lucky. You know what I mean? And you get ones for €100 in Barcelona.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Bayern Munich's 140, 150 euros. You know what I mean? Wally's.
Yeah.
I mean, me and you'll be paying 2 ton for this Champions League, and you're going to be out by you're probably going to be out by the second home match because you may play 2 away, and then 4 you're out. You know what I mean?
I know we've got 2 extra games to play this year, an extra home game and an extra away game. So what that'll chalk up.
2 more nights to walk the dog. I didn't even buy a dog and walk it. I'm not watching that shit. I just couldn't. If the board care, I'll start caring.
As I've always said, Mark, see if you build a team that can compete in Europe, the league should take care of itself. Because if you've got a team that's strong enough to put up a fight against these European teams, then why do you need to worry about Motherwell and St Mirren and St Johnstone? We should be able to just wipe them aside, no problem. But yeah, the board don't really treat the European stuff with the real, the real passion that it should be treated with. But before we go, because we just went over an hour and 5 there before we quickly go, Mark, I know you've had a good therapy session tonight. You've got a lot off your chest, but I need to ask you one more question before we go. One more bit of misery. Finishes on a positive, mate. Who's going to win on Sunday night, mate? England or Spain?
Oh, mate, I think England are that bad. They're going to win it.
I'm worried about
that. I've watched 2 England's full games. I think it was this game, and I think it's another game they played. So I've watched them play twice. And I've been absolutely bollocks, mate. Honestly,
terrible. Yeah,
I thought they were better than Holland. Holland was shite, to be honest. Holland looked done.
Holland were rubbish. Yep.
I thought Van Dijk looked a bit finished as well for me, to be totally honest with you. But they're that bad. They might win it. Do you know that? I mean, if they're getting penalty kicks like that, I mean, who knows? But I'm just hopefully you got to hope Spain does us a favour, mate, because I kind of live in this island if they win something.
Can I throw a scenario at you, right? And I'll give you my genuine mindset, right? First of all, to be clear to everyone in the chat before they'll jump on me, obviously I don't want England to win, right? I don't, because naturally football rivalry. I don't particularly hate England as a country, but in the football sense, they're arrogant in that, right? So I don't want them to win. But let's go back, right? Go back to 2021 where they very, very nearly won the Euros when they nearly beat Italy, but Italy beat them in the end. And naturally, I imagine you, Mark, and many other people up and down the country, Scottish people, Welsh, Irish, we all breathed a sigh of relief. Because I was the same, and I was like, do you know what? Nothing could be worse than them winning a tournament. But then fast forward a year, Mark, and Rangers very nearly won a European tournament.
I know.
And then I weighed it up and I went, what would be a worse scenario that I couldn't handle? England winning a Euros or a World Cup, or Rangers winning a European trophy?
I can handle England.
Now it's like, even though I don't really want England to win, but I'm just kind of like, see if they do. Do you know what? Given that Rangers very, very nearly, Ryan Kent, that fucking last minute moment, I couldn't live in a world if they'd won that. So I just kind of shrug my shoulders and go, do you know what? England, whatever.
I'd have to move. There's no way. I mean, England. I don't watch Sky Sports. I only watch Sky Sports with Celtic are playing. I don't watch. So I'll not see that. I'll not watch. You'll not watch maybe a film and it'll cut off to go to an advert and it'll be England players celebrating. So you don't see it as much as what you think. But
yeah.
I couldn't handle the fact that Rangers winning. See if they won that match. I really don't know. I had to go for a walk. I was in Glen Park walking for a couple of years before.
One-way ticket to Antarctica, please. No return. Never coming back. Come away.
I would just take 500 Cocodamol. I would just go, man. I would just be gone.
Done.
I went to land never.
I couldn't even watch. See, when they went to penalties against Frankfurt, I couldn't even watch it. I'd already sat through the whole game in extra time.
I didn't watch it at all.
I just turned it off at the penalties. I went, I can't sit and watch it. It was only because one of my neighbours in that direction, in the corner, they're obviously Celtic fans, and my window was open, and I was sitting here with the TV off, and I just heard a big cheer, and I just turned it back on and saw the Frankfurt players celebrating. I was like, oh, thank God. Christ for that.
I was on Twitter, just refreshing my page. I couldn't watch it. I think I seen that E-Tims call that, you're a dancer. I was like, and then just done one of the man just wash the face and all this. I'm like, oh my God.
So there you go. That's my mentality on it. Say with England very nearly doing it in 2021, which I've said I didn't want to happen. I would have been raging if it did. But then what they did a year later, where I was like, do you know what? It could be a lot worse if England had won a two. If Rangers had won a major European trophy, game over, man. I just cannot do it.
Oh,
So,
God.
yeah. God, man, too close for comfort. But yeah, with that being said, come on, Spain on Sunday night. And a totally unrelated note, me and Mark are going to brush up on our Spanish now, so everybody enjoy the rest of your night. And yes, as I say, come on, Spain on Sunday night, and we'll catch you later. See you, folks.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.